A few players had high praise for Jack Hughes and his brother. And what do Jesper Bratt and Erik Haula think about Four Nations Face-Off? We have a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed him. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play-by-play announcer, Devils writer Pucks Pitchforks, and also part-time credentialed media member, Trey Matthews. When this episode goes live, the New Jersey Devils are set to take on the Seattle Kraken later tonight. But in today's episode, I want to talk more about the Four Nations Face-Off Tournament. In the previous episode, I talked about Jacob Markstrom being selected to represent Team Sweden. I felt as though he deserved the honor because he's been having a solid campaign. And I had the chance to attend Team Sweden's media availability. I asked Markstrom a question, and I also touched a little bit about Jesper Bratt also being selected to represent Team Sweden, Jack Hughes, Team USA, and Erik Haula, Team Finland. In the first segment, I will play the media availability of Jesper Bratt. He talked about receiving this honor, and I want to share my main takeaways. Then in the second segment, I had the chance to attend Team USA's media availability. And on behalf of Team USA, they had Charlie McAvoy from the Boston Bruins, Adam Fox from the New York Rangers, and Jack Eichel from the Vegas Golden Knights. And I asked them a question regarding the Tkachuk and Hughes brothers being on the roster. Then in the third and final segment, I will play the media availability of Erik Haula, because something I like about this tournament is that it gives players like Erik Haula a chance to showcase their skill set on a bigger stage. Because if this was the All-Star game, let's face it, Erik Haula is not going to be selected to participate in it. But for something like the Four Nations Face-Off, this gives Erik Haula and a few other players a chance. But to kick off today's episode, here's what Jesper Bratt had to say to the media at a recent Devils practice. Take a listen.
Bratt, obviously the announcement yesterday that you're going to be participating in the Four Nations. What sort of goes through your head right away knowing that you're going to have this best-on-best opportunity?
Yeah, obviously very happy. Obviously very proud. It's something that you've been dreaming of ever since you were a little kid, especially for me back when we didn't get to watch too much of the National League games and NHL games. So the national team tournaments were the big ones that you were dreaming about playing for, first of all. So for me now, getting the opportunity to play in this best on best is super exciting.
What do you make of the makeup of the team right now?
I mean, it's super exciting. We got so many good players that you've just been dreaming about playing with one day. So super excited to get the chance to play with them and not just against all these guys.
And what is that when you're talking about playing against, you're going to be playing against some teammates? What is that like mental shift can be like? Because from one day to the next, that competition completely changes.
Yeah, obviously it's a little different than you're used to, but some of us have played in the World Championship and stuff before, so try to put that aside a little bit. Now it's an in-season tournament, so it's obviously a little different, but once the puck gets dropped, you want to win, so that's about it.
So, Erik Haula joking yesterday that he'd put you through the boards if it came to it. Would you give it back to him if the situation came up?
Yeah, I guess that's what I have to. I guess I'll do it my way, though. Maybe I'll try to dangle him or something. No, we'll get some good battles out there. It'll be exciting.
Found it interesting to have an opportunity to go against a Jack. You've been playing with him for so long on the same line. Talk to me a little bit about Jack, what he's meant to the team this year, and what it would be like when you guys do go head to head, if you are meeting together head to head.
Yeah, obviously it won't be as exciting playing against him when he has the puck, at least. I'll get to experience that part of it as well, and not just playing with him. I get to see and feel how it is to actually be on the other side playing against him as well. So no, it's gonna be really cool. And like you said, he's such a superstar in this league. He's one of the top players in the league, and I privileged to be on the ice and play on a line with him. I mean, he creates so much out there. He wants to be better every day. It's just an awesome guy to be around.
Do you know how to get under his skin? Being around him so
I don't know. We'll find out in February.
What's a phrase that I've been saying a lot the last few days? Spirit of competition. And during that soundbite, I loved the answer that Jesper Bratt gave when asked about Erik Haula's comments saying that since Jesper is going to be playing on the opposite team, Erik might have to rough him up into the boards a little bit. And then Jesper gave the response by saying, look, I'm not really a physical guy, so I'm going to have to use my dangle moves in order to make him look silly. I love that. Teammates become rivals, all in good faith. Let me just make that perfectly clear. And I just hope that every player leaves that tournament in good health, because I don't want to see an organization suffer the loss of a key player. And this is exactly what the game needs. Healthy competition. This is an in-season tournament, and we've seen in-season tournaments make its way to North America. Obviously, we're seeing it a little bit in the NBA, which, by the way, is so confusing to follow. At least the NHL is making this a little more simple. And like I said, I love this for the most part, but I just wish they can add just a few more European teams so that way we could see players like Nico Hischier or Leon Draisaitl suit up in this tournament, but I'm not really going to nitpick. I'm glad that Jesper Bratt is getting this honor. Obviously, he was named an All-Star last season, and he's leading the Devils in points and assists. He has 35 points and 23 assists. And I know a lot of people are focusing on Team Canada and Team USA, but I'm just going to say this. Do not underestimate Team Sweden. They got some decent players on their roster. Obviously, we know Jesper Bratt and Jacob Markstrom for the Devils, but you got players like Rasmus Dahlin, Victor Hedman, Erik Karlsson, Philip Forsberg, William Nylander, Lucas Raymond. I can go on. Team Sweden, while they might not be the favorites to win the tournament, I don't think they're underdogs. I think they got some decent players on their roster, and I'm really excited to see what players like Jesper Bratt can do. Do I think they're going to win the tournament? No, but I will say this. Don't underestimate them, and I guess don't underestimate Team Finland either. All right, I'm going to play some sound bites I obtained from the Team USA media availability, but before we continue, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. All right, let's talk about Jack Hughes and Team USA. As previously stated, I had the chance to attend the media availability, and I asked them, what are their overall thoughts of having two sets of brothers on the roster, and how does that dynamic sort of fit? This question wasn't aimed at anyone in particular. I even said it when I was phrasing the question that this was for anyone who wanted to answer it. I was really hoping that Quinn Hughes would be there, but I knew not to bet on it. But I still wanted to get someone's thoughts on the matter, because having two sets of brothers on the roster, that's not an easy thing to do. And we always talk about how it's a family game. Well, there you go. You got a few brothers on the roster. But anyway, I've stalled long enough. Here's what Charlie McAvoy had to say when I asked the question. Take a listen.
Trey, you are up next. Please go ahead.
Thank you. First and foremost, congratulations to you guys. This question is for whoever wants to answer it. Each of you guys have a teammate on the roster, but Team USA also has two set of brothers, the Hughes and Tkachuk brothers. I'm Curious to hear your thoughts on that sort of dynamic and what they can each specifically bring to the roster. And my apologies, Trey Matthews, Fansided, and Locked On Podcast Network.
Charlie, why don't you take a stab at that one? The
I
brothers,
mean,
I guess.
I can't imagine anything cooler in the world than, well, one, I don't have any brothers. I got all sisters, but having a brother and just, I mean, the odds are already small to make it, this far, and to be able to play in this tournament, with your brother. I'm sure both the Tkachuks and the Hugheses are, their families are extremely proud. I'm sure they're very excited. Got to know them both a little bit. I think it's unique that all four of them have different personalities. They all bring something special to the table. I think it's going to help with chemistry a ton, having those guys there. And they're all four of them are great people. So that's so cool for them and their family. It's really incredible.
A little later in the press conference, Rangers defenseman Adam Fox also mentioned the Hughes brothers and the Tkachuk brothers, and he talked about the talent that all those brothers have. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, like these guys said, got to play with a couple of guys. I guess, guys you play against a lot, like we talked about the skill. Like, I mean, the Hughes brothers are, about as fun as anyone to watch and, hard to play against. And same goes with, the Tkachuks and a whole list of guys that, you play against and you wish they were on your team. So, definitely happy they are for this tournament, and will definitely be a lot more fun to play with them than against them.
It's interesting that Adam Fox had such high praise for Jack and Quinn, because not too long ago, a Rangers analyst said that Jack is just playing Instagram hockey. He's trying to embarrass his opponent. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Steve Valiquette. But on a serious note, I'm glad that Adam Fox really respects his competition. And I think a lot of the Devils discourse can agree to that, because I posted what he said on social media and the responses have been positive. And one response that stood out was that somebody said that for every rival, you need to have at least one person that you like. And I think that player on the Rangers roster is Adam Fox, because he respects his competition, doesn't seem like he runs into too many issues. And what he says does hold high value, because Adam Fox won the Norris Trophy a few years ago. So I'm glad that Adam Fox really respects both the Hughes and Tkachuk brothers, and I love that positive response. Now, at some point in the press conference, Fox was asked a question that really stood out to me. The question was, is Team USA the favorites to win the tournament? Obviously, Fox is going to say yes, but he doesn't want to even plant a seed of doubt for his team. That's not going to create good team chemistry. Why are you doubting yourself already? Team Canada, like I said in the previous episode, they are stacked to the brim. And the biggest piece is obviously Connor McDavid. And you still got the OG Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Sam Reinhart, Braden Point. I can go on. Team Canada has a lot of great players, and for obvious reasons, hockey is the main sport in Canada. But I'm just going to say this, similar to what I said for Team Sweden, don't underestimate Team USA. They got the reigning Vezina Trophy winner, Connor Hellebuck, on their roster. You got the Hughes brothers, you got the Tkachuk brothers, you got Austin Matthews, who scored 69 goals last season. Jack Eichel, he's a Stanley Cup champion. Charlie McAvoy, he's also really good. Adam Fox, like I said, he won the Norris Trophy a few years ago. I'm just going to say this, and take this however you want to take it. I think Team USA does have a legitimate chance of winning this tournament, because I think we're starting to see a different movement of American-born players really taking the NHL by storm. I get it. The best player in the NHL currently is Connor McDavid. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. And you got a Russian in Alexander Ovechkin. He's about to break Wayne Gretzky's all-time record. Sidney Crosby, whether you love him or you hate him, you cannot take away from the fact that he is one of the greatest players to ever play this game. And that's a fact. but I'm just saying Team USA has a lot of good players themselves. And if you're not going to pick Team Canada, I think right behind them would be Team USA. I like Team USA's chances, but we'll see what happens. And Jack Hughes recently spoke to the media, and he says that most likely how the roster is formed, he might have to be a winger, but he would love to be a winger alongside Austin Matthews. He said that could be a dream come true. And normally I don't like it when Jack Hughes plays on the winger just because we saw it happen last season when the Devils were trying to quote unquote protect him just because he was dealing with some lingering injuries. But if he's with Austin Matthews, I think Matthews can bring out the best in Jack Hughes, even if Jack's not at his primary position. Normally when Jack's on a winger, it doesn't really go all that well, but in this case, I'm going to make an exception. I love Team USA and what they got going. And no, I'm not just saying that because I'm American myself and I cover an American-based team. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, mean it. All right, we're going to play Erik Haula's media availability momentarily. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get in on the sports action in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money, sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. If you sign up today, you get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each Tuesday. Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value to your lineup. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, let's play the media availability from Erik Haula. Take a listen.
The news coming out yesterday about 4 nations. How proud are you to be able to be a part of this team and this tournament coming up?
Yeah, very proud. It's an honor. A lot of good players in the tournament, and obviously a lot of players who don't get the chance to play. So I'm excited for the opportunity and excited about our team.
What do you enjoy most about that type of opportunity to play best on best?
Well, it's a good question, I guess, but it's like, I guess it's just a very unique experience, especially missing 2 Olympics. It's long overdue, and I'm sure fans are excited about it. It's a preview for hopefully the following year of having every nation there, and obviously four big ones are in there, and glad Finland's part of it. I'm glad I get to be a part of it, and it'll be exciting.
Do you like going up against your Devils teammates or like your former or your current teammates?
It's something you think about. I'm sure guys who are on vacation, their only thing they care about is that the guys on their team come back healthy, and the reality of it is that it's going to be an intense tournament, short, but unfortunately, you don't hope for it, but there probably will be some, bangs and bruises, and hopefully no big injuries. But it's part of the game, and everyone knows it. And so, when I get a chance, like I said yesterday, a couple bumps here and there, but obviously you don't want to see anyone get hurt in these tournaments.
Just talking to Bratt before, he said if you're going to do that to him, he'll try and do a dangle around you.
Yeah,
that's his.
I know.
Is that his?
Oh, it's that's all I got on him. I mean, I gotta keep my feet moving and try to keep up with him, and so I probably have more to worry about than he does.
You think the teams are pretty? When you look at the teams and the rosters, I'm sure you did. Pretty even. I mean, throughout. Do you see one team maybe having an advantage in a specific area over the other at all, or no?
I think I'll leave that question to just the public to make their speculations. I'm sure they'll have plenty of work to do with that, and I overanalyze everything, and that's fun. And ultimately it's one game against each team. I've seen it many times, playing college hockey of, how quickly things happen, and it's sports, and one game, anything can happen to any team at any moment, and so that's what's fun about it is, you play one team and move on, and then you have a championship. So it's, I guess I've done that system before, but yeah, like I said, everyone's got a fair chance to win the whole thing.
And obviously, we heard what you said about if you have Jesper in your crosshairs, what might happen. How about Jack? I mean, if you're able to catch him, and see him along the boards trying to make a play.
Yeah. No, I'll give him a couple shots too. Yeah, smile about it for sure.
Okay, I've talked about Team USA, Team Sweden, but what about Team Finland? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to doubt any of these players because everyone is good in their own respective way, but it's going to be an uphill battle for Team Finland, if I'm being completely honest. They're clearly going to be the underdogs in this tournament, but if I've learned one thing about international hockey, and I think everyone knows what I'm referring to, miracles can happen. So don't underestimate a team based on personnel. It's hockey. Upsets happen more frequently. It's not like the NBA or the NFL where parity is hard to come by. A lot can happen in hockey. If a goalie's on one, then it's hard to score a goal and you can win the game 1-0. But digressing a little bit, I love Erik Haula's soundbite just because he's sort of talking about what I've been discussing throughout the course of this episode, especially in segment 1, which is I love this tournament and the opportunity it gives to players like Erik Haula, because similar to what I said in segment 1, if this was the All-Star game, Erik Haula is not going to be selected. He's not going to be voted in to represent the Devils. It's not going to happen. But for something like Four Nations, where you need more players and obviously you need the right nationality to represent that said country, it gives someone like Erik Haula a chance. And during his respective media availability, Jack Hughes said that Four Nations gives best on best hockey. And I agree with them. Now, one of my colleagues over at Locked On, Haley Taylor Simon, who's the host of Locked On Blue, she actually put out a poll on X and said, which one do you prefer, Four Nations Face-Off or the All-Star Game? Now, to make something perfectly clear, Four Nations is just for this season. The All-Star Game is slated to return in 2026 at UBS Arena. But I will say this. If the NHL came together and just said, you know what, let's scrap the 2026 All-Star Game and let's stick with Four Nations or something like that, honestly, I'm not going to complain. I think in the major sports, the All-Star Game has sort of lost its charm. That's just my personal opinion. Not just in hockey, but in basketball, baseball. It seems like when you're named to the All-Star team, it's just titular. Like no one's really going out there 100% because I think no one really wants to deal with injury, especially if you have a lot of mileage on your body. And you're even seeing the NBA make drastic changes to their All-Star game because they're tired of it being just an offensive fest where players are just going for a layup or just hoisting up threes. Like, gone are the days where Kobe Bryant would make it a defensive battle or something like that, because what are you playing for? Just All-Star Game MVP that no one's going to care about in a week? I see both sides to it, but fans definitely deserve better. And I think the same can be said in the NHL. I stated it in the previous episode. I got credentialed for the All-Star Game in Toronto. I turned it down and I was upset about it at first, but when I saw the product on TV, I was just like, yeah, it's not really all that entertaining. It's kind of boring. And I don't even think the players want to be there, because I saw a viral video from the Seattle Kraken in which Dave Haxtell, the head coach at the time, told Oliver Bjorkstrand that you're going to have to cancel your vacation plans because you're going to represent the Kraken at the All-Star Game. And you could just see on Bjorkstrand's face that he was sort of trying to be like that kid at Christmas time that wanted the latest toy, but instead he got a sweater, and you don't want to hurt that family member's feelings. So you just put on the fake smile and just say, oh, that's great. Yeah. No, you could tell that Bjorkstrand was not happy. I'm sure his wife was not happy because they were supposed to go to, I think, California or something like that. I would have to watch the video again. But instead of that, they're going to Toronto, Canada, which Toronto is a lovely city. But when it gets cold, it gets damn cold there. And this is coming from someone who spent a good amount of his time in Michigan. So I'm speaking from experience a little bit. I think the All-Star game has become more titular and more of a gimmick. And I think the thing about Four Nations is that you got pride at stake. You're representing your country, and everyone wants to put on for their country. That's what everyone dreams about. You want to represent your country on the biggest stage. We saw this in the Summer Olympics, and we're going to see this in the Winter Olympics when NHL players are finally able to participate in it once again. And I think the players are happy to hear about that. So that's my thing, which is if I had to choose between the All-Star game or the Four Nations face-off, Four Nations face-off has not happened yet this season, but I have a good feeling that it's going to be better than last year's All-Star game. And I don't know the logistics. I don't know the process. I'm not behind those doors. I'm just saying from my perspective, I wouldn't mind if Gary Bettman and everyone surrounding him just said, like, you know what? Let's cancel the All-Star game at UBS Arena. Let's run it back with Four Nations. Let's expand it a little bit more. Let's add some more European teams so that way we could get more representatives and it could be more entertaining. I would be down for that, honestly. So that's my thought on the matter. And similar to what Erik Haula said during his media availability, it gives players like him a bigger stage to showcase their abilities. But let me know your thoughts. Which one do you prefer? Four Nations face-off or the All-Star game? And what are your thoughts on Jesper Bratt, Jacob Markstrom representing Team Sweden, Jack Hughes and his brother representing Team USA, and Erik Haula representing Finland? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on a podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X page app at TreyMatt4 or the show's X page app at Locked On Devils. As for his episode, that's all the time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day in New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys next episode. Thanks for listening once again.